not drive through, drive back. I have kind of stumbled on that a couple of times. Thinking about this movie, I keep wanting to say drive through. No, this is drive back. Get that clear to start. But let's see what drive back is about. With the IMDb plot here, a couple returning from their engagement party must escape a sinister and seemingly endless road. Endless road. Yeah, I'll get into that real quickly here in a minute. But I first want to let you guys know that I saw this movie courtesy of a screener via the Popcorn Frights Film Festival. This film is part of this year's festival for them, so I definitely thank them for allowing me to screen this. Since it is a new movie, we'll try to keep this spoiler-free as possible, and this does have twists and turns and things to spoil, so I will try to keep that as hidden as possible. I think maybe if you kind of gathered from that very brief plot there, this is going to be one of those kind of time loop kind of movies where, we're just kind of, the couple's going to end up kind of stuck in a space and have a hard time trying to figure their way out of it. But, I guess that's the basics of it. Early on, you're basically going to meet, you're going to see a scene early on that's going to kind of give you a little hint about the guy here and the main guy in the story here. A little bit about his past, and then it'll end up at this party. You get a brief introduction to him and his father first, and that kind of relationship. His father, he's gonna have father issues. That's part of it, and you're gonna learn about both the characters, but a lot more about him, as the film goes on. But he definitely has some issues with his father and so forth. His father's kind of the outdoors, wilderness kind of guy. And very oddly, when they leave this engagement party, I guess it is like a 3-hour, I think they said, trip back home or back to civilization. Because I guess they had it at the father's house or whatever, basically in the forest out in the middle of nowhere. And the father makes sure that, he has like this kind of box or crate in the back of the car full of all kinds of survivor stuff in case they break down on their way home or whatever. It's good looking out, Dad, but that is a little weird. But long and behold, maybe that stuff's going to be useful or not. We'll see. But yeah, so the couple's going to, they had the party, whatever. They're going to get in the car. They're going to drive. And kind of as their drive kind of starts off, you kind of get that vibe that there's going to be like this, so maybe some of those other movies, kind of almost like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you're just out for a drive. You stop at a weird gas station. Weird shit's going to happen. And like I say, we've seen this in horror movies before. The guy, start asking questions at the gas station people, and you're like, should we be going that way? And they're like, no, don't go that way. How about you guys go over there? That's an excellent way to go. Fantastic. You'll have a much better time going that way. And then you're just like, yeah, we'll go that way. Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, gas station people. We'll go that way, and things will all work out. Nope. So yeah, they're gonna, as they drive away from the home or whatever, he thinks he's got it all planned and it's gonna be fine or whatever. Then they get spun around because of something that happens, and then they end up at this gas station, and yeah, exactly what I just said happens. They go the wrong way, and it's all downhill from there. Soon enough, they're gonna end up driving, and things are just they're gonna seemingly be in an endless circle. Like I said, I want to keep this kind of spoiler free. But as they're going to kind of drive up, there's going to be a hitchhiker that they're going to run into and have a moment with him here. They're going to have a couple of times where they're getting out of the car. They're talking, blah blah blah. It's coming kind of like in different stages here. They're going to drive a little bit, something's going to happen. Drive a little bit, something's going to happen. Like I said, as it kind of goes. from his perspective. A lot is driven by the guy's perspective here. You're gonna see some flashbacks. He's gonna see some things that you're gonna that might seem real in the moment, but maybe not to him. He's a little confused whether they're really happening or not, and that's something you guys are gonna have to figure out. Some of it's gonna be important. Some of it's just gonna be to kind of throw in there to make it horror like or whatever for you guys. Like I said, you're gonna find out some more stuff, especially his relationship with his dad is gonna play a part of this as this goes on. I think early on, it's just you're gonna have to bear with it early. When they kind of get on this trip, because it's, again, the bulk of the movie is going to be once they get in the car, the bulk of the movie is going to be just them, and even though they're engaged, they're going to have those moments where maybe there's a little bit of bickering. You're going to maybe see that maybe they got engaged a little ahead of time. I should also mention she is pregnant, so that's going to play a little bit of a role here. I don't think they say how along she is, how far along she is, but that's definitely a consideration here as well. So I think early on, and I think we've seen some other time loop movies. I think was it last year or the year before, there was Brightwood, which was also a couple, I believe, and they were by a lake and kind of on this path, and a bunch of weird shit happens, and they were also in a kind of like time loop thing. So this is kind of so if you're in that kind of movie, this might be one for you. Again, they're in this car and they're just kind of driving and driving and driving. But yeah, they're gonna kind of bicker at times. Maybe realize that even though they're engaged, they're gonna have some differences and so forth and so forth. And definitely the stress of the situation is going to get to them each. So I think early on you're just gonna have to brace yourself. Usually in these time loop kind of movies, slowly things are developing early on, and maybe try to pick up on a few of there's going to be a clue or two there, when you eventually see what ultimately is going to happen here. The clues are there, so just be mindful of that, I guess, early on, even though, again, you might have to kind of sort through that earliness as, they're just getting on the drive, whatever. I think the tension and the suspense, kind of will pick up eventually, especially when they kind of realize that they're just not getting out of this, or they're not sure what the hell is going on, and how to get out of this. There are going to be other reasons for the tension and suspense to pick up. I'll leave that out so you guys to see. But it definitely will pick up. Like I said, I think, as I was watching this, there is a point where you kind of figure, some of the stuff out. Like I said, there are clues here and there. So I think, one or two things I picked up on, I would assume you guys would pick up on too. I'm definitely not the smartest person in the room. So if I picked it up, I think you guys pick it up as well. So you'll kind of see that coming. But I definitely leave, the ending was definitely an interesting scene. One that I wondered, was going to happen. I think the title definitely it fits here, to say the least. I think definitely as it kind of hits the final stretch and maybe those final moments of what has happened and what's going to happen hit. If you kind of fall in with the characters and maybe feel sorry for them, or you're kind of rooting for them or whatever, definitely going to leave you in an interesting place here with them. And I think it is going to leave you with a twist and a turn as the movie kind of comes to an end. And I guess that's the best way to say it without giving anything away. I think, X is going to happen, and then that's going to leave for a decision, and then you're going to quickly see that, X happened, and then you're going to see, something else happen. I keeping it spoiler free is hard to say, hard to do here. But definitely, a lot, some small twists and turns as this movie kind of comes to an end. And it definitely leaves off in an interesting place. But I think, overall, when you kind of look at the clues and look back at what they gave you over the course of the movie, once you figure out mostly what's happened here, I think they ended up doing a pretty good job here of setting it all up. And like I said, I think, you guys kind of pick up on some things. Maybe once things come to a head and you really see what's going on, then you can kind of maybe fill in some of the other blanks. Some things are better hidden than others. I think you guys kind of figure out some of the stuff, but maybe not all of it to come. But yeah, really wasn't sure. Once I kind of realized that this is going to be like that kind of time loop movie, kind of, if I was going to enjoy it or not, or, like I said, sitting through the early part of that, and it's sometimes kind of rough because you're just kind of like, let's get to it, okay, they're in a time loop, let's get to some more of the dramatics here, but, it needs to have that kind of slow setup before it really spins out of control. So, I think in the end, they didn't leave anything out. They did a good job of piecing it all together. The characters are interesting enough. Like I said, you get to know a little bit more about him than her. So maybe, if we got to see a little bit more about her, it would have been nice. But you get to pick up on some things. But yeah, I think overall I'm going to give it 3 pools of blood. Like I said, I wasn't sure when it started, but I think because I ended in a satisfying way, at least for me, and kind of, going back and seeing the pieces and what they did there, I think I ended up enjoying it enough here. So again, if you kind of like a time loop kind of sci-fi kind of film, this might be for you. Not really huge in the blood and guts here. Not really that kind of film. It's definitely more mystery and kind of sci-fi-ish, and putting the pieces together here of what is happening. So yeah, again, that's going to be 3 pools of blood out of 5. And once again, thank the Popcorn Frights Film Festival for allowing me to screen this one, watch this one a little early for you guys. I don't know what I'm going to assume this will probably be at some other festivals, and then we'll see what happens after that with it. But if find out any information, future release for it, whatever, I'll make sure to kind of share that for you guys. So with that, horrorscoryreviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews written in video. Certainly mostly video for a while now, so like, subscribe, and do everything else that everybody wants you to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, it is truly okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well, so feel free to join me there. Talk horror, talk about this movie when you eventually get to see it, or in the comment section when you guys eventually get to see it. Your thoughts on time loop kind of movies and that kind of thing. If there's other ones out there that you guys enjoy, feel free to throw them down there and so forth. So with that, I guess I'll catch you in the next review, horror fans.